you don't have to go anywhere, and the thing is you probably get further if you don't go anywhere, if you just reflect where you are, like, like now, not later,
Yeah.
you don't have to, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be
Don't
a
wait.
big,
Start right away. You
yeah, it
know,
doesn't have to be a major operation here. It's just, look, what small thing, what's the smallest thing that I could reflect on today? How can I start seeing things a little bit differently? What are some things inside of me that I could unlock, just even the smallest, tiniest way? In fact, look for the smallest thing. People look for big things, right? It's like
hmm
it's not just, it's like live big, 10x, all these
hmm
things. But all right, well, that's great, but the problem is the where we are and where that is. They think it's going to happen in one home run, right?
right,
Which we're led to believe with social media, right? All
right.
this
Yeah.
airbrushed life. Oh, you're going to get back on the plane. You're going to have a whole bunch of drinks. You're going to land, and you're going to do whatever it
Right.
is you're doing all day long. Fill yourself life with busy. You're going to miss really what you're here to do, and then 2 weeks later, you're going to be off to France or wherever it is you're going next.
And
And
I
sorry, my sister. You're just a really good example, and
right. But I guess I
and I
didn't
love you
realize
dearly.
when you're trying to find the answer, I guess just pounding a bunch of drinks. I never thought that would find it, but I thought there was other ways to open the mind. But um, what I think is really, you ever see the movie Kung Fu Panda? If
Yeah,
you haven't, see the movie Kung Fu Panda, because it's the secret scroll. It's the scroll to unlock
yeah,
all the secrets in life and everything that to uncover how to fix all your problems. All the answers that you're looking for are in the secret scroll. So this Kung Fu Panda goes and obviously, does just unimaginable things and beats these unimaginable foes to finally get the secret scroll. And then when he opens it up, it's a mirror. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, all the answers are within. So
yeah.
it's like you got to look within, because this external, if you live your life needing external validation all the time, that you're going to get caught up in a hurry. You're going to hit some big roadblocks. Validation has to come from within.
Hmm.
No one's going to give you the answers. You have to you have to find them within yourself. And
Yeah.
and I mean, inverted yoga sounds kind of fun, I guess. I mean, I do it because it sounds kind of fun, but I don't
Well,
expect to get
well,
my
I think it would
answers
take the
there.
pressure off your lower spine, Chuck, and
Yes,
have
my lumbar
much.
area, John.
Yeah. I mean, probably would actually.
I know.
I could use that too.
Yeah,
I put that on you because I think it would feel good on me.
I know.
It's like,
It
God, I
would.
could use a little traction, the
Right,
lower back area. But
right,
I don't think I need to go to Costa Rica for it. Maybe I'll just, do it
right.
here somewhere. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and it's yeah, and people when we're looking for something external, it's like, when you read a book, you'd go, "Oh my God, that's a fantastic book," and I'm really gonna. Well, that worked for the author, right? It,
Right,
it worked for the author. It
right.
worked for them, and it doesn't necessarily. All these magical things don't necessarily work for us. We see things that are, we see things in a different way. We have different experiences. We have different DNA. How
hmm
how we how we experience things is exact and not at all like what anybody else does.
hmm
It's just
hmm
not at all. So we do have to figure it out for ourselves. And then it's like when it clicks, when things click, right? And it's interesting. There's scientists call these different types of intelligence, like crystallized intelligence is here's how it is. This is how I
Okay.
learn how it is.
hmm
And you hear that, right? A lot of people tell you, well, this is how it works.
Right.
Well, yeah, but as time changes, that has to, that can't work. But crystallized intelligence, it's like inflicting the same behavior on every day.
You're
It's
right.
like, God. And then there's what do they call it? Fluid intelligence, where you learn some stuff and you figure out how to unlock puzzles and that kind of thing. But it peaks like when you're like in your 20s, about that age. Because, and it's interesting too. I think about that and I go, okay, well, that's about the time you're done being educated, right?
Right.
Because when you're
Right.
educated, people are going, we got to, professors or teachers
hmm
are setting things up, and you can't figure it out. You can't figure it out. And then click, and they go, oh man, I
Yeah.
didn't see it a moment ago, and now I do.
Right.
And it's because somebody's pressuring you to unlock that,
hmm
but then we stop. When we graduate, and move on, we almost get no clicks in life, maybe
Right.
one here and
Right.
there. But then there's this thing they call adaptive intelligence. and it's looking forward, and it's not just you, it's thinking broader and thinking ahead and imagining, anticipating adapting in the future. And it goes way bigger, and it goes forever. And
Right.
and so anyway, I think it's back to figuring things out and unlocking things. Which one do you want to be?
Right.
Would you rather
Right.
be able to adapt and see ahead, look ahead, be prepared when things things go right or wrong, and you already know in advance what to do? Or do you want it to peak when you're in your 20s? And then I think that's, some of the kids, right? They go, oh
Right.
man, I learned all these things, and then I get out, and this is it.
Hmm.
This is all
Hmm.
there all there
Do you,
is. Uh,
do you,
or like the what?
no, do you think that people today are like, you know, like they shy away from challenges, right? They don't want to get frustrated. They don't want to push or something. I feel it's like, because like I'm a product of the 80s, right? In the 80s you didn't have cell phones and you didn't have all this
You're a
technology.
hell of a
So
dancer too. I can
I
I
can
can.
I did
I
actually
mean, a lot of
participate in a
dancing back then.
I did participate in a breakdancing competition at the Capitol Mall in Iowa City, where I grew up. I think my plaque might still be up in J.C. Penney's up there. I think I won a pair of parachute pants. But anyway, I mean, do the people like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you have to welcome. I remember used to say this all the time. Used to say, welcome frustration. Frustration is good because it means you're trying to figure things out. And I don't think people today, it's like they just have the slightest little bit of frustration and then they just collapse on the problem and move on to something. It's like they don't feel like they have to fight through it or something. I felt like we had to figure it out.
Well,
It's
we
just
did have
different.
to figure it out
Well, I
because
guess that's it. Yeah.
no,
So true.
nobody was. Well, I think there's yeah. All right, I think parenting's gone to hell in a handbasket, or at least for the past generation, right?
Right.
Helicopter parents that didn't let the kids do anything.
Right.
Didn't let them choose. Here's how it's going to work. Here's what you know. Didn't let them have
Mm-hmm.
challenges, didn't
Mm-hmm.
let them get in trouble, didn't let them do all these things where they would have learned, and they just didn't learn, and they figure, well, it's just going to be handed to me. And you see that, right? And I go back to social media where it's airbrushed. There's so much artificial.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought up it's talking about welcome resistance, and I would say I think I've adapted my thinking on resistance a little bit, because I used to copy. Tony Robbins used to say, welcome, or he probably still does, welcome resistance because it means you're going to have a breakthrough. And I don't think that's true. I think welcome resistance, because resistance tells you, hold on, wake up, look around. You
Mm-hmm.
may or may not be on the right track, because resistance doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean you're not on the right track. But I think that it means, hey, 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 snap
Reevaluate.
out of it, snap out of it. Well, at least, yeah, look around.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel like I'm on the right track or not?
Mm-hmm.
Am I bushwhacking down into a dangerous jungle? Where all the snakes and
Mm-hmm.
spiders and biting things are.
Right.
All right, hold on, because then it's like, all right, like persistence too, right?
Right.
Persistence is the like beats everything. Well, that's not true. Put the person, with a machete bushwhacking down into a jungle where they're going to get eaten alive by many, many things, or
Right.
or it's never going to get. There's no end to it. You're bushwhacking into the center of Africa. You're gonna you're going the wrong direction. Is persistence good if you're going the wrong direction?
What's that?
Is
No,
persistence
absolutely
good?
not. No.
No. So that resistance that you feel is, I think, is valuable. It's a
Mm-hmm.
gift.
Mm-hmm.
Resistance is a gift because it tells you, hey, snap out of it from them. Just wake up and look around. Are
Right.
we on the right track, or are we not on the right
Right.
track?
Think through
So
this again.
yeah. Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it means you're going to have a breakthrough at all. Because you
Right.
could be going to the totally the wrong direction, and you're never going to break through. You're never going to.
I think
Or
that's a really awesome point because when you set out on a journey, whether business journey, personal journey, whatever journey, you almost get, especially if you're driven, you kind of get tunnel vision, right? Like you're kind of like, I'm going after my goal, so I'm just
hmm
trying to plow through this resistance. Well, I guess at what point do you go, okay, I'm getting a lot of resistance here. I need to stop, reevaluate, rethink this plan. Is this the right? That's a good point. That's a real solid point. Is you got to have some kind of threshold where it tells you to okay, because like you said, if being persistent but down the wrong path, and the next bush I whack down and I fall off a cliff to my death, boy, that wasn't very good. You know what I
That's on the wrong track, man.
mean? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. And it's like, and most, and if you follow the herd's
Right.
running
Yeah.
probably for the most part on the wrong path. So you go, well, this is what everybody does. So I thought I should be doing it. I just need to
Right.
persist and I'm going to break through. No,
Don't do it.
no, sorry, little tiger. Not the case. How many people do you know that actually, are on the right track? Like you look at them,
Right.
it's easy to look around, right? It's easier to see what
Hmm.
other people are doing than
Hmm.
yourself. You look around, how many people do you see that you go, man, they really seem to be on the right track?
Not many, because
No, no, but they
and it
think they are, and they're persistent.
right, right, and it's whether that's like your business life, personal, and it's weird, like because you look and you go, there's probably like three things in life, family, your spouse or significant other, your business, your health, whatever, and you go, very few people, and that's where that they always talk about like the balance, right? It's like some people are really on track with one thing but a complete mess on four other things, you know what I mean? It's like you got to have that, uh, and I guess it's just like the way you approach problems, the way you understand resistance to reevaluate. I mean, there's so many little formulas there to have, because I want to complete, yeah, I mean, I think, don't we want, and I think that's why it's great what we do, because how we've set this up and we've taught our people to set it up is you can generate the kind of revenue to hit certain life things you want to do. Maybe, live in a different zip code or drive a different, but it also allows you time to work on those other aspects of your life that are equally as fulfilling. That if you're working some deal 80 hours a week just to make that money, then other things in your life are going to break because you're not putting the attention into them. Where if you
Or they're not
do,
going to happen.
or they're not going to happen. Right.
Yeah, but you're right. They're probably going to break. Health is
Right.
going to break. Your relationship, your kids are going to turn into idiots. Because you didn't spend the time with them
Right.
uh, that you really they need.
They need. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I think you got to set your business life, or however your career, business life, or however you want to phrase that. You have to have a well-rounded life, and that, because that's pretty important, because that's what puts food on the table, roof over your head, clothes on your back. So you have to have some success there to survive, but do it where you have the time to work on other aspects of your life too. I think that's the intrinsic value of doing things the way we do them here that people overlook. They don't understand. It's like, oh,
Well, yeah,
I can do all
you
these
right the
things.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It gives you time. Yeah. What would you do with the time?
right,
If you had it, if you had the money and the time, what would you do with it? You
right.
know, we don't.
I'll be in the air
Yeah,
tomorrow
and
at 3 o'clock too. So, by the way, sorry,
you what?
I'll
You
be
have
in
a
the air
haircut?
tomorrow, so I won't be on
Oh, in the
tomorrow.
air. I thought you said you had a haircut, and I thought
It's just getting
done.
unruly. It's getting
Where are you
unruly, Joe.
going?
I'm going to
You
your
going
neck
to
of the
Costa
woods.
Rica?
Yeah, I'm going to do some inverted yoga in Costa Rica. Actually, I'm going to Fort Myers tomorrow, so going to be down in your guys' neck of the woods.
Fort Myers. You know, it's a good place to go. It's a good place to go.
Yeah, I think so. Well,
Did
we'll
I ever
find
tell you?
out.
Where are you going? Where are you going to stay in Fort Myers? Are you going to stand at the beach, or are you going to stay
No,
in Captiva?
my buddy's got a house down there, so
Oh yeah,
you know,
well, yeah, okay.
here it comes. Here it
Another
comes.
one. Yeah, yeah. Chuck living the privilege life.
Yeah, that's it.
Uh, so does he live down there?
In the winter. Yeah, he winters down there and then summers up in Minnesota.
So he's not a realtor?
He's not a realtor. Why? Why?
Because realtors don't have the freedom to do that.
I was going to say how you came to that. Like that was
Well,
so
because remember we
serious
used to
too.
realtor a while back, and I thought and he had his own plane, and I thought he talked about flying to Fort Myers and back a lot. This
Oh
is not
no,
that guy.
no,
You're
it's
not
not
you're
that
not
guy.
You're
It's
not
not that
shacked
bad.
up with him.
No, no, I'm not shacked up.
So, as a, do you know what part of, in any case, so at Fort Myers, the last hurricane they had wiped out a lot of stuff, but
I heard.
including the pier. There's a famous pier down at Fort Myers Beach,
Mm.
and the pier goes out, and it may have they may have rebuilt it. This is a couple of years ago that, but uh, an aunt of mine, a couple actually, two of them, two sisters, when they got older and were spinsters and they're old, they died down there. But uh, one of them flew back to Wisconsin, and actually I think she died there and was buried up there. But the other one was cremated, and they had her service just down the beach from the pier at a hotel in a ballroom.
So
And
I
so
think I remember some of this. This is all becoming.
this is a bad story, uh,
Oh my
a
God.
very bad story. Uh, and so one of my irreverent cousins, one of her sons, she had three boys, and one of them is, we'll just
Oh,
call him irreverent.
yeah.
And so he thought it'd be a good idea after the service to take her ashes down to the pier and throw them into the water. And I thought, well, that sounds nice. And of course, we'd all had a bunch of wine. And so we go traipsing down the beach. It's south of the pier. So we walked up to the pier, went out to the end. There's, it's got lights out there, dark, and a couple guys are out fishing. And her name was Bev. And so her son carrying the box with said it was he called it Bev in a box. And yeah, gives you an idea
Right.
of this whole deal. Anyway, so here we are out there, and so he's opening this, and it's going to start throwing I thought he was going to throw the ashes over the side, and by the way, this is illegal. You aren't
Right.
supposed to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
throwing people's remains off, and so it's a little bit, there's an onshore breeze, so. So, so anyway, so he pulls it up, and it looks like a cereal box. It's like about that size, but much heavier. And so he opens it up and starts and hands it around, like hands it to people. And he goes, take a scoop. And so you just take a scoop and throw it. And I'm going like, I have no interest in diving my hands into
Right.
a
Right.
cereal box with Bev's remains. I have no thank you. This is not something I have any interest in doing. And so people are grabbing handfuls and throwing them, and the wind's blowing it. We're all covered in dust. You've never seen like the Big Lebowski, right?
Yeah.
Where they throw this is what's going on, and it's
Right.
like, oh my God, I've got ashes in my eyes, and he's come on, and I gave in
You
finally.
gave in.
I
Peer
put
pressure
my hand
gotcha.
in. It was is not something. I mean, I can feel it today, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
chalky, dusty, and I threw it, and the fisherman's reeling his stuff up. He's like, I'm out. I have
Yeah.
no
Right.
interest.
He's
This is
getting out of there.
he's got dust on him. He's a poor guy, and so now all the Bev's remains are gone, and I stopped at a fountain, on the way to a dinner and washed all the
I just
dust out of
envision you
yeah,
throwing it up, and then like when people like get just blasted, they take their glasses off, and it's perfect here.
yeah,
But it's just,
yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean? I just envision
yeah.
you all just
Uh,
in your
it
mouth.
was Yeah. Oh, it
Oh
was
shit.
horrible. It was horrible. I couldn't believe. I mean, I still remember it like it was yesterday. It's like,
Oh
what are we doing out?
yeah.
This is nuts.
Oh, that's
This
crazy.
is not. I don't know if she would appreciate that or she'd think it's funny or
Who
I
knows?
don't know. I
Who
don't know.
knows? That's
But we
funny
did
though.
it.
That's
Yeah.
that's
So
funny.
there's Fort Myers. There's Fort
Yeah.
Myers.
Well, I'll never. I'll be careful as I'm walking around a pier in some dust. I'll be. I wonder if
Yeah.
Aunt Bev is laying
She's
around
still
down
floating around there,
there.
in this little whirlwind of on and offshore breeze, coming in out of Fort Myers.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, it's funny. Is like as you're telling the story, I'm like visualizing this whole thing going on. Everybody's standing around. Grab some, grab some. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Oh, my cousin, he's holding the box out, two hands on the box, right? Grab some, grab some. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, first, but peer pressure, right? First
Right?
time, this is
Yep.
not this. I don't want to do this. I don't want,
Right?
and then I did it,
Oh, that's
and
funny as
and
shit. That's funny as shit. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
So there, there's Fort
about
Myers.
the call, Ian. I guess you know. I think that's good for our next call with our sales partners, right there. Tell that story because it's funny. Good humor.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell it. I go, hey, Chuck was, I don't know how it's got to weave into something.
Yeah, I
So,
know. We'll figure
what's
that out.
the metaphor? What's the
Right?
metaphor?
Right?
It's a great warm up
Uh
to talk about, whatever else we might be talking about here.
huh. One thing we always made sure we did too, all along this 30-plus year journey of figuring a lot of stuff out and having a lot of diversity and reevaluating and regrouping, is we always had a lot of humor involved. And I think that
Yeah,
carries you through a lot of rough times. And I'll never forget, being in the credit card processing business. What was that? The club. Remember when the club came out that you put on your steering wheel? You put on your
yeah. That thing you
steering.
put on your steering wheel, that red lock, 'cause
Yeah,
it
the
was
red
stealing
lock.
each other's cars, I guess, and
Right. So
you know,
no one
get
could
the club.
had the club to steal your car. Well, one of our new accounts was actually processing. He was selling the club, trying to sell it online. And so he sent us a demo. He sent us one as a demo to prove that he had good product and he could get approved to
Yeah,
take cards. And then one day, our UPS guy back then, we used to have to overnight paperwork back and forth. So we saw our UPS guy because that back then you needed wet signatures. You couldn't do fax. You couldn't do
no
um,
DocuSign.
no DocuSign, anything like
There was
that.
no such thing.
Yeah, it didn't exist. So we're constantly, I mean, packages after packages back and forth every day.
Yeah, we'd
So
send overnights out, and then we'd be
right.
shipping credit card terminals. Did a lot of
Oh,
UPS, a lot
yes,
of
we
shipping.
did. Yes, a lot of those overnight
So the guy was
envelopes.
there a lot. We knew him.
So we knew him well.
We knew him
Well,
well. What was his name?
Joe, the
Joe.
UPS guy. And
Joe, the UPS guy.
he was kind of a squirrely dude, right? And
Oh,
he
he's fun too. A rebel. A
he
rebel.
was a rebel because UPS has like strict rules, like when you leave your truck, you cannot leave your truck door open, right? Because there's packages in there. So,
Right.
and we knew that was the rule because we knew the guy well. We talked to him all the time. And he'd always stop at our office. You could see him park in the parking lot, back in, and he'd
It's right
always
through the
leave.
window because we're in ground level,
Right.
and so you can see when he pulls up because he's just right out here.
Never closed his door. So when we,
He could have, but he's just
oh yeah,
being belligerent.
yeah, he's just going, I'm bucking the system, right? I'm gonna, do it my way and I'm a fit,
And
whatever.
UPS also, you couldn't wear your mustache below this crease on your lips,
Yep.
but he'd wear it just a little bit longer.
Yep.
And they just to irritate UPS and socks because they had regulation socks. Remember that?
Yes.
He'd wear different socks
Yes.
just to irritate UPS.
So
So anyway,
that's
so
this guy.
he's a little bit of a rebel.
Yeah, so that's this guy, right? So we get this club in and he comes in one day and we were scheming and laughing and stuff. And John's like, all right, I'm gonna keep him occupied when he comes in here, sneak out there with the club and put it on his truck. So the guy comes in, he's delivering a bunch of shit. And John's like, hey, come back here, look at this.
Hey, look,
Keep
look it over here.
yeah, doing the sleight of hand kind of stuff. So I run out and I put this club and I lock it on the steering wheel. So
Of
I
the
come
UPS
back in
truck.
on the UPS truck because he's not supposed to leave the door open, right? So we come back in, and man, I wish. See, back then we didn't have phones that you could video this because it would have been priceless to have this. We'd have got so many views online.
Oh yeah.
So I come back in, we're all talking for a minute, and then he's like, all right, I got to go. So he runs out there and he has packages in his hands. So he runs and he jumps in inside of the truck and he doesn't notice right away because he's got packages in and he runs in the back of his truck and you can see him putting packages and we're in just laughing to beat shit. We're just
We're
giggling.
peeking out the
Yeah,
out
we're
the
like,
window.
out the window. And then he comes to go sit down and just like, boom, like, oh shit. And then remember he was
Yeah, he looks
fighting
like
it? He was like, oh,
yeah. You
and
can
then,
see him. It's like
uh-huh.
I mean, just the gestures you'd imagine. Like
Oh, and then panic set in. the panic set in. Like, I'm done. I'm done. How am I going to explain this when I have to call back to the hub and go, somebody got in my truck? Well, how could they get in your truck if your door was closed and locked, right? So you could see all this unfolding in us. You know what's great about it is when you can see people see their life flash in front of them. He saw his career flash in front of his eyes in all of about 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, we were laughing to beat shit. And then finally figured out it was us and came
Yeah,
in.
you're right. Then it occurs to him, and because we're looking at him from the side, right? So we see his profile, and he's wrestling around, and then it's like he looks, and he's like,
He's like, you sons of
you
bitches.
did."
You sons
And
of
so we're like,
bitches. Oh, God, that was
and
so weird.
the relief on the man's face,
Oh,
and it's like, oh God,
when
you,
he saw it. But
you know,
man, that was
he
worth.
cursed at us. He cursed at us.
Oh, my feelings are hurt. Oh, he yelled at me. Well,
But
yeah. Oh,
and,
good
and of
time.
course he was smiling and laughing while he's doing it
Yeah,
because a relieved curse.
that was true to see the relief on his face as well. Like,
Oh, it's priceless. But the point there is just fun, right?
yeah,
You gotta have fun with it. Of course, these days if you did that, he'd call the police or he'd shoot you or something like
right,
that.
right,
Back to people being prickly. It's like lighten up, Francis.
right.
Just chill out a little bit. Just
Yeah,
chill out. How what we can wrap this up by saying, what's one small thing that you can do that's fun? Like right now,
right,
like when you go, you know what? One small thing that'd be fun. Just don't overthink it. Just one, oh, let me think about that. Now there's just like the
right.
first half little thing that occurs to you, send it off to somebody or a little joke or a
Hmm.
little, just you can, I don't know, something fun that's been on your mind. Just say something fun to somebody. Shoot
Yeah,
them off a text or something, and they get it and they go, it brings a little smile, right?
right.
And that's one of those little things along the way that make a big difference.
Yes, it
Like
does.
Chuck said, we did a lot of stuff, a lot of big stuff over a lot of time, but it didn't. It was all incremental, and along the
Hmm.
way, what is it? What are you doing along the way that does it suck? I mean, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
all hard. It's all a challenge, but along the way, can you have fun doing it?
Hmm.
And that's one of the measures. Yeah, I don't know if we measured it, but we just did it. And it wasn't. We're just kind of, I don't know. We're fun, spontaneous guys. We love to cause
Right.
problems for people,
Yeah.
but but you don't have to be us, your version of it, right? Just send something fun, just something fun to somebody, and it'll brighten up their day and it'll make you feel better immediately too.
Uh-huh.
And
100%.
if you have a club laying around and the UPS guy comes by, man, I might want to try out the
Go
trick.
throw it out on his truck. Oh, that was
Yeah,
great. That was so great. Yeah. Keep it
yeah.
fun.
When you're selling stuff, one of the best things that you can do. It's if you just have fun in life anyway. But if you have fun in life anyway, then you carry it into selling stuff or doing business. Because one of the things that I know, I would imagine you guys. Well, let me ask you: do you like to do business with people who are fun to talk with, or
Yeah.
just all about business?
Fun to talk with.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what and that's one of the things that it seems like when people are in business and building something, all the fun gets sucked out of it. It's like, well,
Hmm.
there's no place for fun here. You can't have fun. You can't be uh, and both Chuck and I, growing up and doing whatever it is we're doing, have had a lot of whatever success is in that world. In that situation. I remember even back before, like I remember when I was in high school. I worked at a service station. I pumped gas, changed tires,
Hmm.
all this
Hmm.
stuff, and I would write. In the calendar. So there's only like a few of us. The guy that owned it, me and Dean, the chain smoking guy who carried nitroglycerin in his pocket for when he would have heart attacks. But so it's just the three of us, and I put in the calendar, the little daily calendar, like it was on my mom's birthday, which is in November. But I'd go back. I was going to be going to college, and I wasn't even going to be there. But in the hey, say wish my mom a happy birthday. Just little things like that I'd leave for him. It was just fun. It's
Right.
just it wasn't like I was trying to be fun or funny, but it was just just like things that occur to you. I think things occur to you for a reason. It's like, oh, that would be fun to just clever, just I wouldn't call it clever. I just, tell my mom happy birthday, and he did. So he came, on no her birthday in November. He came to that page. He's like, oh, that was fun. And so my mom ended up telling me about it. I was talking to her. She goes, oh,
Oh, that's
Leo.
awesome.
Yeah, Leo said happy birthday. He said he came across it on the calendar. I forgot that I'd done it. But along the way too, like in another lifetime, back when Chuck was growing up, Chuck sold beds for Select Comfort over the phone.
Hmm.
And what was your
Night night,
little
sleep tight. Night
yeah,
night,
who
sleep tight.
says shit like that? Only
Right.
the number one salesperson at,
Yeah.
only it is like it's almost like
Yeah.
a confidence to be who you are in a
Right.
situation that's business. And
Right.
that's one of the things that I found too is just, you're just relating stories like like, earlier Bev in a box or
Hmm.
and people are like, wow, that's they're going to retell the story.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be some wild story like that. It's like be yourself. You can actually and I think one of the things that the world needs most today is people being themselves, not airbrushed, not
Hmm.
artificial. It's just the things that, it's like these things that you just do naturally or instinctively. It's okay to be that. That's who you're created to be. Be that.
Hmm. Hmm.
If we're all the same, it's kind of boring. Why do business with me if I'm just like everybody else?
Yeah.
Why? Why? They shouldn't. They should just randomly. But and that's like rapport and relationship, right? It's you do it by design, but part of your design is just doing who you are. It's just doing you, right? Do you.
Hmm.
There's that Richard
Russell
Richard Simmons.
Simmons.
Russell
Richard
Simmons.
Simmons when he was doing his
Two different
dancing
guys.
to the oldies.
Yeah,
No, Russell
yeah,
Simmons. That was that book. That was a
Russell
great
Simmons,
book.
Do You.
Yeah, do
It's a
you?
great book from, yeah, Do You, from, I don't know, 30 years, 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
But it's so true. Just, it's what the world needs most is who you exactly are. They don't need somebody who you're trying to, some airbrushed version of you. They need who you are, talking,
Right.
the truth. Like, and it's like um, when you see things on social media or wherever, it's all, and I think this is one of the things why some people don't reach for what's next, because they go, I could never do that. They're so perfect in every sort of way. I
Hmm.
could never be that, so I try. Well, they're not just airbrushed. It's fake.
Right.
It's a
Right.
veneer. They have the same problems that you do. They are actually human, and it doesn't matter how much money they make. Over the course of time, you meet a lot of people who have no money and a lot of money, and,
Hmm.
and they all kind of have the same feelings, right? And a lot of the things that you think and feel don't change just because you've got a bunch of money, too.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that doesn't really, these things don't change. So you still remain human. You still are the same person. You still need fun people. Fun. You don't have to be like a court jester. It's like,
Right.
that
Right.
wears thin. But it's this, man, it's cool that you can be good and fun and genuine in business, and people will love to hang around with you and do business with you, and send people to you and send you to them,
Well,
and it's just easier. It's less. It's not. It's easier because it's not manufactured. It's natural.
and you said a minute ago, you said truth, and I thought, immediately I thought how interesting that that's the word you use, because it's truth builds trust, right? When they know they're dealing with the true you, people trust you more. If they feel like you're trying to be someone you're not, it builds distrust,
Yeah.
because it just doesn't jive right. Like, you ever meet someone and you get just, I mean, we all have this like sixth sense, if you will,
Yeah.
or
Your
just this,
instinct.
your instincts, right? And when this guy's not quite like, there's something just a little off, then immediately
Mm-hmm.
you don't trust that person, and
Mm-hmm.
then you don't want to do business with them. But when they come in and I like when I'm doing business with people and they say things that are like unusual, if you will. Like, you go, gosh, most people wouldn't say that in this situation. Then I feel like, okay, you're shooting me straight, because
Yeah.
you don't have such a hard filter, if you will,
Yeah.
like that you're trying to, you know what I mean? If that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, it's like your little sleep tight or whatever you'd say
Right.
when you're selling beds, or the little phraseology I'd use when I was selling wild rice and talking about how you
Yeah.
harvest it.
And laugh at yourself a little bit. Laugh at
Yeah, Christ, I
yourself.
laugh at myself all the time. And I shake my head at myself all the
I
time too,
know,
like,
right?
come
Right.
on, man.
Come on, man. Like, what am I thinking? I do that too. I
Yeah.
go, God, you know what I mean? Because we all do things. I
And
mean,
maybe
just do
that's
real
we
things.
need to take ourselves less seriously, right?
Right.
Airbrush
Exactly.
ourselves less.
There you go.
I dare you to look like shit on camera someday. You know,
Right.
you don't have to spend, it doesn't have to be manufactured. You can be real, and we'll all love you even more when you're
Exactly.
real.
Exactly.